And unfortunately, so I'm gonna be like gone like this entire weekend, so I might not be able to get you the recording until like Monday-ish, if that's okay with you.
Yeah, sure.
But yeah, sorry about that. Just
No big deal.
1 second. Okay. All right, I think we're good. So what got you interested in coaching?
Okay, so I have been playing this game for like 5 months.
Mm-hmm.
I went from, started in gold,
Mm-hmm.
uh, then climbed. I play about 1,000 competitive matches per season.
Yep.
So I went from gold, went up to plat, went from plat, went to diamond, went from diamond, went to masters.
Mm-hmm.
And every step, there was always like a part in between where I felt like I was just not there yet.
Yeah.
I guess if that makes sense, right?
Yeah.
So like the transitioning period from plat to diamond felt very much like there's something wrong that I'm not doing, and I don't know what I'm not doing. So every time I was in that position, I
Mm-hmm.
would go to a coach. I'd be like, okay, there's something I'm not doing, and I don't know what it is. So I need somebody else to analyze my gameplay because
Right.
I'm clearly not able to.
Right.
And
Right.
since I don't know all the nuances of this game yet, I can't fully analyze my own gameplay.
Right.
So, getting someone who knows more than I is what I turn to.
Sure. Okay. Okay. Makes sense. Makes sense. So what got you into Overwatch in the first place?
So I used to play a game called Smite, if you've ever heard of
Yeah.
Smite.
Mm-hmm.
Was like a semi-professional in that game. Very fun game. They changed the meta pretty heavily to something that I really didn't enjoy, and so I stopped enjoying the game.
Uh-huh.
And then Overwatch 2 came out, and I was like, Overwatch 2, it's not like Smite, but it's kind of like Smite. It's like a MOBA-esque. So I'll check it out, see
Sure.
what's going on. There are a lot of cool characters. I was very interested.
Mm-hmm.
I've never really played an FPS competitively, so I was like, we'll see what happens. It seems like there's a lot of things that reminded me of the other game that I played. So I was like, surely I can learn this game like I learned the other one.
Sure. Makes sense. Okay. Okay. All right. So I see in your form here a lot of variety, at least as of the time of the form being filled out, which is actually about a month ago. Where are you at hero pool wise now? What are your favorite heroes to play?
Oof. Favorite heroes? I'd say like Pharah. I'm
Mm-hmm.
a big Pharah fan. Junkrat still. I enjoy Genji, Sojourn. Um, I'm learning, like I'm obviously learning other characters. I put in the forum or something like I'm learning them for the team I'm on.
Yeah.
So like I'm learning Widowmaker. It's not an easy task, unfortunately.
No. No.
Learning Echo, have a lot of fun with her. Um, yeah, I'd say that's like the gist, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm
Mm-hmm.
playing all the characters, realistically speaking. I'm still pretty new to the game, so
Okay.
every character is fun to play.
Makes sense. Makes sense. But leaning more towards the DPS though.
Yeah. I'm much more deep. I do play support. I'm Masters 4 support, so like that's the highest I've ever been ranked.
Nice. Nice.
But but like DPS is the one I'm trying to learn, and that's definitely the one that's been more difficult.
Okay. Okay. Makes sense. Makes sense. What appealed to you initially about, because obviously you're higher rank in support and yet you're primarily playing DPS. What appealed to you about DPS, I guess?
So from Smite, right, the game that I used to play,
Yeah.
I was a mid laner, so it's like the same in like League, right,
Yeah.
where you play in the middle, and the mid
Yeah.
laner is like the hard carry role.
Yeah.
And in this game, I was like, well, DPS surely is the hard carry role. Let me
Yeah.
join.
Yeah.
So I was like,
Surely.
well, we'll see if it is.
Yeah.
It turns out, contrary to popular belief, it actually isn't.
Yeah. Yeah.
At least in my findings, but
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
mean, I definitely have, and then I was, I started watching videos, because like, okay, I gotta get my scope of the land. Started watching
Right.
professional play.
Of
I
course.
watched, all the crazy, like the EQO 5-man blade or 6-man
Rialto or
blades.
whatever.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. The Rialto one
Rialto
indeed.
clutch. Yeah.
That was sick. And then I watching a lot of Izan. He makes the game look like a child's toy, and it's
Yep.
so fun to just
Yep.
watch. And I'm like, well, I wanna be that guy.
Yeah.
I want to be that guy. So
Yeah, yeah. Okay,
I'm trying
makes
out.
sense. Makes sense. Makes sense. It says you're a former Olympic level figure skater. Whoa.
Yeah, I
What?
am actually.
Wow. Wow. Okay. So I'm interested in all things competition. I think a lot of it can be carried over to Overwatch. So like, what was your career like through that?
Uh, So I started figure skating actually as not as a serious thing. So I moved right now I live in Oregon.
Okay.
Um I did not used to live in Oregon.
Okay.
And when I moved to Oregon I had nothing to do. When I was like a kid. So I was like 14.
Yeah.
And like nothing to do. I was so bored all day and I was like, "Oh, I hate being inside. I'm a kid."
Yeah.
Um and so my mom was like, "Well, just go to the mall and see if you like anything." So I
Huh.
went to the mall, and in the mall, it's called the Lloyd Center. It's where like Tanya Harding used to train,
Okay.
the Olympian. There's an ice rink, and I was like, "Oh well, I'll try ice skating. I've never ice skated in my life before." Uh, Started ice skating. Was going quickly, was going backwards. Things that not many normal people on the ice do. And after that day, I was like, I think I'm pretty decent at this. I'd like to get some lessons. And so
Mm-hmm.
I got some lessons. Uh, After I got some lessons, I got approached by four coaches. After those lessons, they were watching me, and they said, "Would you like to be coached?" And I was like, "Oh, sure." Long story short, I worked really, really hard every single day, 12 hours every day.
Jeez.
Uh, yeah, until I shattered my kneecap.
Oh
At
no.
Yeah, at a very big competition too. But I've never lost a competition in figure skating
Nice.
because I didn't win that last one, but technically I didn't compete, so technically
True. The you
I didn't lose.
retired undefeated.
I did.
Nice.
But yeah, so I basically worked myself to death. It's pretty much my quota.
Yeah. Yeah.
Is I work so hard to do whatever I want to do, and I will succeed, but it's not going to be the most effective for my health,
Right. Right.
and
Right.
I'm
Right.
aware of that.
Right.
But
Right. And I'm glad we talked about that because it sounds a little bit like what you're saying with the 1,000 games a season strategy.
it's not a good strategy, but it is good for learning all
Yeah,
the
it
characters
is. It
and the
is.
game.
Yeah, yeah. It's tricky because it's good initially until you like really apply yourself to something, and then you need to be like a little bit more intelligent about it. It's
Oh
like
yeah.
when you have that initial learning phase where everything is learning, everything that you do is fun and enjoyable. But at some point, it's like when push comes to shove, you have to find like what's the best structure. How can I kind of control and channel this energy now? Um,
100%.
Okay, makes sense. Makes sense. All right. So long-term and short-term goals. Long-term go pro at least at top 500. Short-term start really grind mechanics, cementing fundamentals, positioning and hitting masters. Okay. So you just want to be good at it, like you were with ice skating and like you were with Smite, and now it's going to be Overwatch. All right.
Pretty
Makes
much.
sense. So this is the real question. What does your training schedule look like right now? Because most people, when I say training schedule, they're like, "Oh, schedule. I don't have a schedule." Okay, you sound like the type of person that probably has a schedule.
I do have a schedule. I'm a pretty busy person. I'm going to school currently for a master's degree in what is it? Social work, clinical
Mm-hmm.
social working.
Okay.
Um, and I am currently a teacher, so
Okay.
I teach on a teaching schedule from 8:30 to 3:30.
Okay.
In any time between that time when I have classes, me and the people I've worked with, we've agreed that I'm allowed to do my classes during that. So I have online classes, I have in-person classes.
Okay.
Uh, Anytime after that is dedicated towards like eating, homework,
Right.
um, and then pretty much like 3 or 4 hours of playing Overwatch.
Okay. Okay.
Uh, depending, right? Depends on the day. So sometimes I've got to like drive people places, pick people up. It really depends. And then sleep.
Right. At least you got 8 hours. At least
I
as of the
do.
form. That's good.
I do.
I'm
I averaged it to 8. It's like 6 to 10. So
okay.
it's average
Okay. Okay. Makes sense. Makes sense. Makes sense. So you got about 3 to 4 hours on average per day to play
on
Overwatch.
average.
And is that
Yeah.
6, 7 days a week?
Yeah, 7 days a week. Probably a little bit more than that. I mean, if I'm being honest.
Okay. Okay.
Um,
Makes sense.
I have a lot of hours in the game already, and I haven't been playing for very long. People like my friends look at my profile to see the growth, like how I'm doing basically, and they're like, "Damn, he was at like 400 hours yesterday. Now he's at 600." I'm like,
Right. 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 Right.
"Yeah, yeah, yeah."
Well,
I'm
you're
I'm
getting
I'm
a 20,
grinding.
25 a week, which is a lot.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what I would say. I would say that that's definitely grandmasterable, depending on how much energy and focus you're able to pour into it. Um, I guess for me, not a concern, but just something to kind of keep in mind is that you're already working at so many other mentally intensive things as it is with your job and with your study, that you may have a little less gas going into it by the time that Overwatch time rolls around, right? So just kind of keeping that one in mind. But I do think in terms of like actual time requirements, you're playing enough to get the Grandmaster. For you, it's going to be about channeling that energy and kind of controlling that energy as best as you possibly can. One thing that's interesting about you is, despite having so many hours in the game already, it does feel like the heroes that you enjoy are still kind of up in the air. You haven't really kind of exactly solved, like, your master's on support, but you play in like some Pharah, and then you're also trying to learn Widow, and then there's just like a little bit of everything kind of going on right now. If I were to ask you, ignoring the skill element, what are your favorite heroes to play, period? Support, tank, or DPS?
Support, tank, DPS, any of them?
Yeah.
Hold on. Let me look at the heroes in the game.
Yeah, sure.
I would say ignoring skill, right? Like,
Yeah,
I'm the
ignoring
best
skill.
at the character.
Yeah, knowing the skill.
Genji, Ana, Pharah, and Zarya.
Okay, interesting. Okay. So I think for you is how many hours do you have in the game right now? I'm checking my own group.
I have 614.
Okay, so you're still a little bit of a baby, but
definitely.
you're getting there rapidly.
I'm still new to the game. I'm surprised I've hit Masters.
Right. So what I would do is I would, as time goes on, try to pay a little bit more attention about what heroes that you enjoy the most. Because for you, I think my concern, not concern, but then you're reaching a point in time to where if you're going to want to rank up, you're going to want to start to specialize a little bit. Now, I pivoted a lot. I think I completely swapped roles like 800, 900 hours in. And it worked for me. You know, I tanked some SR, but it's what I wanted to do because I enjoy those heroes more. And so it ended up being a great decision. And that's might be something that you have to kind of get to. But if your goal is ranking up, you're going to need to find where you're going to need to put in your time in. And the reason why I ask what your most favorite heroes are is obviously because that's going to be where you're going to want to put your time in, regardless of skill. Skill follows time, right? As you very well know. So if you're putting time into, I'm good at these heroes, but they're not my favorite, then putting that time in is going to be not only difficult, but not enjoyable. So what I would do is just keep doing what you're doing, but you need to be kind of investigating what do I really just like playing. I just like playing these heroes, and then lean more into those. And if that changes with time, and that will change with time, especially as new heroes come out and as they rework other heroes, then don't be scared to pivot, if that makes any sense.
No, that makes sense.
Yeah. Okay. Just something to kind of keep in mind.
Yeah,
go ahead.
I think the big issue for me is, like, as I said, I'm on a team, right? And the other DPS for our team...
I forgot about that.
Yeah.
Talk to me about the team situation. When did you pick up playing with the team? When did that happen?
So that happened about Season 2 of Overwatch. Since I came, right, from Smite in a game where I was very competitive, right, like top 0.1% of players.
Yeah.
Not to be...
No. That's fine.
Not being anything.
Yeah.
Just, like, there are, like, leaderboards, and I was number 1 for a long time.
Yeah.
So, like... I was like, okay, I need to be playing on a team in Overwatch. I was like, I don't care what rank I am, because in that game I never played on a team at a low rank. I only started playing on a team when I hit Masters in Smite, like only. I was like, well, it could be fun to play on a team like in Gold. That'd be fun.
Yeah.
It's not fun. I'll tell you what.
Sure.
Well, it is fun, but it's not fun, right? Like, I'm playing with people. They're all communicating. It's fun because I'm playing the game as it's meant to be. It's a 5v5. We're all meant to be communicating and like planning fights and cooldown tracking and target calling, and it's cool and fun. And I like it. But you know, we're all in Gold, so we're all bad.
Right.
Which is fine, and I'm aware of that. I'm like, all my teammates are bad. I'm bad. It's okay. But the issue is, I was progressing faster than my team was.
Right.
So like, and I'm still with my team because I really like them and I enjoy being with them. And they're not like, they don't have big egos, and they're really chill people. And they're pretty, they're pretty good. But so like, me and my tank, right? We climb together. He's GM 5. I'm Masters 5. One of our supports is Diamond 3. One of our supports is Gold 2. Our other DPS is Plat 3. So it's like a pretty wide range. But we all were gold, right? And so like,
Right.
just yeah,
You guys
exactly.
have
So just
grown. You guys have
yeah,
grown
we've
since the
definitely
initial
grown,
placement.
but some people have grown more than others.
Well,
And
that's natural.
obviously, obviously, right? Like it makes sense that I would grow at a different rate, right? Because I
Knowing your
have the other,
background,
yeah,
right?
because of the other backgrounds. But the issue with that is my other DPS, his hero pool is very, very, very limited. Right? It's
Right.
very limited, and I'm watching like like the owl scrims that you post at the videos, and I really enjoy watching them. Because there's all like the nitpicky stuff, and I'm a real big fan of nitpicky and micro and macro.
Right.
Um, and so I'm watching these, and I'm like, oh, I want my team to play this comp. That seems fun. Like obviously the owl people have a very specific reason for doing this, but I want to do it because fuck it, I don't care.
Right.
And so we're trying to do this comp, and my DPS, he doesn't play either of the characters that I want to play. So it's like, okay, well he can play this one, and I'm gonna play one of these two.
Right.
Right. So like, I am our Echo player and our Sojourn player. Yeah, I am our Genji player and our Mei player. So
So you're the
like
one
obviously
making the
have.
sacrifices to make the compositions work, even if that like makes your hero pool look like just like Noah's Ark.
Exactly. And
Right.
I play Sombra, I play Sim, I play Torb, right? I play all these. I play the Pharah, I play Cass. I play all
Right.
these random ass characters, and I play them all at a pretty mediocre level, or like a decent level. But
Yeah.
like, and that allows him to play the characters that that he specializes in. Like he's really good at Hanzo, he's really good at
Right.
Ashe. He's
Right.
like really good at he's really good Reaper, really good Mei, right? So those like his four characters, and I play every other character. And
Right.
so
Well, I mean, I
and so
wouldn't say
like
that's necessarily a bad thing right now. Let's put it this way: like you're still new to the game, and so like putting a lot of time into all these heroes might actually be kind of fun and enjoyable for you to like learn more about the game.
oh yeah,
But
that's pretty fun.
I guess, especially with like as these SRs are going to slowly start to spread more and more and more as people are more and more serious, you probably know where this is going.
I do.
You're going to need to find a different team.
Of course.
I mean, that's just how it goes. That's why like I generally don't encourage people of lower ranks to join teams as much. Not because it's bad, just because you're gonna have to move apart at some point. Like there's gonna be a difference in seriousness. So I don't know. Just something to kind of keep in mind. It's fine for now, but long term, probably going to move apart. So enjoy the process, even if it's only for a few more weeks, maybe a month or so. I don't know, however long you want to be there, and then at some point in time, kind of move on from there.
Oh yeah, I'm really just there to learn, right? Because
Yeah.
there's coaches there. There's like free coaching, right? So
Right.
I can have VOD reviews. I can be like, okay, what am I doing wrong here that I can improve on?
Right.
They look at it. They're like, here's what you can do. Because it is about ranking up, right? Like obviously I want to rank up, but I actually don't care because I come from another game where I understand the ranking system. I'm just here to learn.
Yeah.
So that's why I play 1,000 games per season on DPS, right? It's like I'm learning all the heroes there. I don't care if I'm throwing a game once or twice. It doesn't matter to me because I'm going to win 5 more eventually. And then I'm going to get back. It doesn't matter.
Right. That makes sense. Okay, well, you have at least set the right mindset for it, and that's kind of been a tool for you to kind of continue to improve and continue to improve productively. Okay, yeah, that makes sense. I mean, I think like for training time right now and knowing what you know about improvement and what you're doing right now for hero pool, but long term, obviously going to narrow that down as time goes on. You get a better feel of what you actually enjoy. I think you're good. For me, what I want to do more this VOD than anything else is maybe just give you some goals, right? Give you some goals like actually in game. I think being a previous competitor, I think you're good to go. Just as long as you're able to be aware that your tendency to overdo things a little bit in case your schedule does open up in the future and you start putting in 6-7 hours of Overwatch, then we might have a problem. But as long as you're aware of that, which I'm sure you are, then I think we're okay.
Oh yeah.
Last question for me, what do you feel is holding you back from improving? Mechanics, game time, and somewhat mentality. I don't think game time is a limiting factor for you anyway right now. Mechanics is going to be a problem for you given the amount of heroes that you're playing, but it's not a problem because it's something that you're just dealing with right now, and then it's probably a good thing for you to kind of experiment with all the different heroes. Long-term mechanics won't be a problem with you once you actually train the heroes that you want to train. Mm-hmm. But you say somewhat mentality. What do you mean by somewhat mentality? I mean, obviously, again, this form is a little old, so let me know if any of that's changed.
It's a bbit old. I'm trying to remember what I meant by that. I think what I meant was, I'm trying to think about it. Because I know in there, one of the things that should have been there was, game time was meant to mean like more like understanding positioning.
Okay.
Because there will be times, and with other coaches, I've had this conversation. Not like no one crazy, but like I'm very aggressive.
Yeah.
Like a very aggressive player, and I play probably either too fast for my team or too slow at times. Right? It's like I'm never in the balance of tempo.
Yeah.
I'm always a little too quick or a little too slow.
Right.
And it depends on the hero, right? Like some heroes I'm playing really quick, and in scrims I've been told by my team like, "Hey, you're playing too fast for us."
Right.
I'm like, "Okay, but I saw this thing, and I thought we had to go, and I you know I communicated that
Right.
I saw this thing, and I thought you guys knew that meant we go."
Right.
And apparently people don't know that, but that's my bad.
Right. It might be a sense of hierarchy, like of needs for you, where you're like, I see this as a cue to go because of the greater knowledge that I have. But obviously, that's contextual about whether your team can actually follow up, and that's even more important. Right?
Yeah, exactly. So I think that second part that you just highlighted is the issue. It's like me not understanding if my team can follow up to assist me in the goal.
Right.
Because like if I see them use Immort or Suzu, I want to go.
Yes.
Right? Like I'm far, I want to go. I want to hit their backline.
Yes.
But my Reinhardt Ana can't hit their backline with me like I want them to.
Right.
Or like my soldier, like he's kind of like stand over, or my Ashe, they're standing over there. They're just like, they're doing their Ashe thing, and they can assist, right? They can throw the dynamite, they can do that. That's their assisting, but they can't like hit it with me because I'm gonna go balls deep into their backline. And I'm gonna fucking roll over them.
Right.
And I need a certain level of assistance with that, and sometimes I'm just not aware. I'm just like not paying attention to that.
Right. But to be honest, at this point in time, it doesn't even sound like you're ignorant of that. It just sounds like just a skill that you haven't really mastered yet. Like that is one thing that I'm very, very good at because I've coached it so many times in VOD reviews, just awareness of your team. So when I play ranked, generally I'm actually pretty good at that, right? Maybe bad at everything else, but I'm pretty good at that. That sounds like something that you're aware of, but you're just not very good at. You haven't built the habit of checking, constantly checking. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I'd say I'm good. I'm better at that on tank checking.
Okay.
Not on DPS though. On DPS, I'm always
killer instinct.
Always going.
Yeah.
Doing something.
Interesting. Okay, makes sense. It might also be the DPS as well, like a far where you feel it kind of self-sustainable. I'm on my own, but you're not always on your own exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, makes sense. Do you have any questions?
Any questions? No.
Okay.
Maybe. Probably. I will probably later.
Okay, works for me. Do you have
but
a
not
replay
right now.
code? Do you want to look at it?
Sure. I have 3 possible replay codes.
Sure. So let me give you my parameters for good replay codes. Basically, number 1 is the hero that you're looking at getting reviewed, like the hero that you would like information or knowledge on that you feel a little lost on, or you feel like you could use some help with. Second thing is then something where you were confused about what to do, wasn't sure about the matchup. And the other thing is it might be helpful if you have a game where you just kind of performed normally and you just want to see what you could have done better. But prioritize the stuff where you're like, I need information. I don't know what to do here. Those are the. If you don't have one of those, just pick a normal game.
Okay, so let me think about this. So I've got. So I chose. So these are just ones that I chose. At like I was playing a lot yesterday or the other day, and I chose like 3 games of like 3 of the heroes I play the most.
Yeah.
I didn't get a Sojourn game. That's unlikely. But I got Genji, Pharah, or Junkrat, and those are like I would say those are probably my 3 most played. Well, actually, Pharah is not one of my most played, but Sojourn is one of my most played characters, and so it's like Junkrat, Sojourn, Genji, and then Pharah is like climbing up the ranks. So it's like one of those 3 is the big one.
Okay.
One is a draw, and 2 are pretty close victories.
Either one works, honestly.
Okay, I'll grab the Pharah game.
Works for me.
Let me give you the thingy. Is that the thingy? That's not the thingy. There's the thingy. There you go.
Perfect. Get this pulled up, and then I will.
I might not have played Pharah on offense or on defense. That might be a lie.
That's fine. We can jump around.
I did not play Pharah on offense. Or on defense, I mean. Only on offense.
Okay, jumping where we need to be. Okay, so you want to look at Pharah, Junk.
I think the Junk is fine. I think the Pharah is the issue.
Sure.
Yeah. Pharah was the issue. I feel like here it was a lot of the issue I was talking about. The going in too quick.
Yes. Okay, well, let's do something really fast then with Pharah. So let's talk a little bit about what Pharah is good at. What are Pharah's strengths and weaknesses? What are you trying to accomplish with Pharah?
Pharah, you want to hit backline.
Yep.
As much as you can. Depending on the tank, I think you can hit the tank, because if they can't do anything to you, you can help your tank win the tank duel, which is important in ladder.
Yep.
Get resources out of the enemy. And follow up off of pressure made by your supports. I'd say those are like the big ones.
Now, what are Pharah's strengths, though? Because you said you can go for DPS, you can also go for tank, so you've got high damage across the board. Obviously, if you're able to hit a squishy with a direct, that's obviously pretty attractive. But like, what makes Pharah unique, obviously, compared to other DPS?
What makes her unique? Her uptime, I would say.
Sure.
Her uptime is pretty high, right?
Sure.
She's flying, so she's pretty much. If there's any character that can't hit you, you're pretty much just in the sky doing whatever you want. You're basically Junkrat in the sky.
Right. Watch this. Watch this.
Watch him.
This is what makes Pharah unique. You said it right there. Basically, uptime and flying. Okay. But then I think understanding what the flying actually does is really important. You see, there's some DPS that take positions like this. And
you're talking about the lanes.
Right. So you can go here as a tracer. You can go here as, like, let's say a Genji or a Sombra or a Wrecking Ball. Like, a lot of heroes have that horizontal mobility that allows them to take more aggressive flanks and off angles so that they can easily go for backline, right? Like, let's say there's squishy little backliners over here. Sometimes those targets are hard to hit if you don't have a lot of mobility, but if you can wrap around, it's easy to go. Now, what makes Pharah unique is that she does this exact same thing, but she does it completely differently, right? To where you're here, the enemy backline is over here. You don't really have, well, you kind of have some horizontal mobility to like wrap around this way, to wrap around. But really what makes you unique is the ability to take positions up top and high and be able to kind of just ignore cover, essentially. You can cheat. You could get angles and positions that no other DPS can get, because really anything besides Echo, they can't fly, right? They can't attack from that sort of an angle. So that gives you opportunity to shoot targets in different positions that they otherwise wouldn't be able to do. And this is really interesting because if you look at, I'm going to switch our stream up again here. If you look at the map that you're playing Pharah on, I mean, look at the point here, right? Like, normal DPS are like, oh, crap, high ground, right? I can't see anything, get spam, right? You're like Giga Chad, like, haha, now how do you feel, right? You have the position and angle that really no other DPS could take, and their cover is useless. Their high ground is useless. In fact, their high ground might actually even be a liability, given the fact of the splash damage and the angle that you have from this position. Do you kind of see what I'm saying?
Yeah, I understand.
Okay. So then for you, it's like, Pharah is good at that. Pharah can also displace people with concussive blast, excuse me. So what's your priority right now? I mean, look at their backline, look at their tank line. What should you be trying to shoot?
I think I should be trying to shoot their backline here.
Why?
Because they're all in the open.
Yes.
Right? So the Bap's right there, the Mercy's right there. I don't see the Junk, but I probably saw him.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. If I'm pressuring them, then the Zarya is not getting assistance.
Right.
And if the Zarya does not get assistance, their front line is broken, and then we can push through.
Right. It's a higher return on investment from directly shooting the Zarya. It's instead to cut off this life support to the Zarya, because you're more easily able to threaten kills on these targets, given how aggressively they're positioned. So for
especially because of the choke that they're holding as well. Because since we just held defense, and I was playing Junk on defense, this choke is very difficult to push through.
Right.
If there's a lot of spam.
Right. Exactly. So for you, it's going to be all about the fuel management and being able to preserve this angle as long as you possibly can. Which, by the way, how do you do fuel management? Like, just without going into the details, what is good fuel management?
Good fuel management is 80% air uptime.
Right. Right.
I mean, I watch a lot of the Pharah God, so I try to do a lot of the stuff that he does, but it doesn't always work.
It's hard.
So I should actually be, once we get towards red, I should just be shooting this cover. To keep myself up, but I was not thinking. So
shooting right here, right? To kind of
If you shoot right there and you spacebar, jump.
Right.
It'll keep you in the air just long enough, and then I will get my whatever the heck the name
jump
is. Jump jet back up, and then I'll be in the air the longest, which is gonna be really good against this comp because there's only one person who can hit me.
Right.
And that's the BAP.
Right. Okay. So then, as you play this spam, the one thing with Pharah is kind of like, I mean, you see this with Yasin a lot, is he plays the hero like a dive hero, which in other words, going from point A to point B, not necessarily going on top of the targets, but going from point A to B point B, point A to point B to get a different angle. So like, let's say you get the spam, you force them off of high ground, your tank starts to walk through the choke. What's the next step for you? Treat it like a Winston almost. Where's the next dive for you?
Going to their high ground.
Yes, so you go to here, your next high ground cover. And then this one's even better. Why?
Because there's not only the high ground, like the top roofs that I can hide behind, but there's also the low ground where I can hide, and it'll let me recharge fuel. Right,
you can actually sit your feet here and actually have like an easier time, right? It's kind of like creating space for your team, and then once you're able to spam them off at the high ground, then you can earn the right to take this position away from them. So it's about getting a good angle on backline and spamming so on. Now, here's a question. How do you use Concussive Blast? Because this one is super nuanced.
How do I use it?
Sure.
To dive.
Okay.
Predominantly.
So to reposition yourself, yeah.
Yeah, to reposition myself. Sometimes to reposition the enemy.
Mm-hmm.
So like if I see, obviously there's like if there's a big ult and I want to boop them into the ult, I'll do it. But
sure.
But sometimes I will, like, someone's on high ground, I don't want them to be there. Let me get them off there.
Yes,
If I want to push someone where I want them, I'll push them with my blast.
Exactly. I think there's like a lot of nuance of the way you use it. You could use it to mess people up, to displace a tank. But I think the general philosophy is that you're either using your blast to take an angle that you've already won, right? Or that you think that you're already going to win through diving it, or to use the blast to clear the angle so that you can take it. So in other words, if I'm here, I could look at it two ways. I can either concussive blast across and dive this angle to take it, or I can use this concussive blast to get them off of the angle that I want to take. So boop them off of the high ground so that I can then take that high ground, if that makes sense. So given the circumstance right here, what do you think? Should you use it to go in, or should you use it to get the BAP off?
I think I should use it to go in because Genji's diving.
Right. I think you should use it to go in because I don't really see any risk out of just being here right now. There's nothing here that's really scary to me, so you should just go in right now. Now, if it was like a really fortified position that you couldn't just dive in and kill immediately, right? Then you would probably need to boop them off first. You need to do your homework first. But right now, you should be in. You should be in right now. You should be in. Especially because, like you said, your Genji's in and your Matra's through the choke. Now is the time to take to the next position. And instead, obviously, okay, so you have the right idea, but not optimal. And then the other thing here is where do you really want to be right now?
Not here.
Not here.
I'm in the middle of the open.
Middle in the open. So where do you want to be? Pretty obvious.
I want to be where the Genji is.
Right. Just get here. And then what do you do from this position here? Now we got a real question. Okay, so let's just pretend in our imaginary universe you are slightly better on the high ground. What now?
I can play around this roof, like that little, the little indent. Is that what you call it? I don't know.
Yeah,
like that little middle part right there, and I can kind of just spam down under them. And there's not much they can do about it.
Once you have this perfect position, how do you decide who to shoot? Who do you shoot? It's a bit of a trick question here.
Whoever I want.
Exactly. It really doesn't matter.
But probably the BAP.
Probably the BAP, probably the SIM, whatever is easiest to kill at this point in time. It's like everything has lined up, the stars have aligned, you've created space, you've cleared the angle, you've rotated, you've gotten through the choke. Now just kill people. Now just kill them. Right. So here it's just going to be mechanics, right? I mean, even this deeper angle here is pretty reasonable. I think the only thing here is just like actually hitting the shots. And then I'm not sure that this deeper angle was worth it, considering that you could have just shot the BAP from this position without actually having to take the time to go around, you know? Yeah. This is the kind of rotation that you would have taken if there was like I don't know, like let's say there was like a Cassidy right here or an Ashe back here and you need to get on top of them. Because that's the other thing too, like what happens when they go hit scan? You need to get on top of them, right? Avoid them or get on top of them. But this is just like, honestly, mechanically, you set yourself up for success. The rotation was a little slow. You just didn't hit your shots. It's pretty much that simple. Definitely go. You know, definitely go. Now this high ground is yours. Use it. See, now you don't have it anymore. So now you kind of have to go back to spamming it again. See if you can clear them off. Or boop them off with E, right? And the direct damage is pretty cool too. Now it's yours. Take it. Careful. it's just cover. You know, like honestly, you didn't even need to do. You could have just sat here and shot. To be honest with you, just sat here and shot. Or if you wanted to reposition again for a more aggressive angle, where would you go? This one's a tricky one.
Yeah, that's a hard question. What did I have? Did I have my cooldowns?
You did.
Then I probably could get like back. I'm not gonna say back left, but more like middle left.
Maybe
right
somewhere around here, right?
Yeah, right there.
I don't think
Kinda
it would
like
be even necessary to do that, but if you wanted to, theoretically, that option is there. Again, this is this question that would probably be more important if there was an actual hit scan playing in the back that you need to get on top of. Just honestly, so far what I'm seeing so far is just a little bit sloppy with your cover usage and a little bit sloppy with how you're like moving from point A to point B, as we saw.
Yeah.
Okay. And then now you have Barrage.
Yep.
So the big thing with Barrage, as you've probably seen from Yazin's, is well, okay, what's the most important thing with Barrage?
What's the most important?
Yeah.
I actually don't know.
Okay. So this one's tricky.
I would say at least trading, like, because you're gonna die most of the time. Like trading your life for at least two to three.
Sure. So we talk about high risk, high reward, right? High risk, high reward. Very high risk. So one of the laws of Overwatch, which if you've watched any of my flanker videos especially, is that the greedier the play, the more aggressive the play, the later you need to be.
Yep.
So then
I do remember this.
Using that logic, tell me what's the most important thing about Barrage.
Is finding the right scenario to use it.
Right.
The best scenario.
Right.
The scenario where everything is gone. There's no bubbles. There's no whatever it's called. There's no immort. There's nothing.
Yep. Even if those cooldowns are available, you want as little attention on you as possible at the start. You should be late, waiting for devolved fight, waiting for your Ramattra to be 1 HP and or feeding. You do not want to be initiating the fight with Barrage. You want stuff to get messy and distracted. I played versus Yazin so many times when we were coaching back in the 2020 days of Contenders, because he was on Team Avoided, and it was like, we cannot forget that has Barrage. You cannot forget, because if you forget, you're done. It's over. You're cooked. If you don't forget, then it's actually really, really hard for him to get anything done. But if you do forget, it's a 5K. It's a 5K. So for you, it's going to be the same thing. It's abuse their lack of object permanence, which is actually pretty hard, right? By just taking your angle, playing normally, and wait for a lapse in concentration or them to get distracted. And then as soon as you do that, no fear. Even if it means that your Ramattra gets low. I mean, a lot of the big barrages, sometimes you even see them in like 5v6 or 5v4 or 4v5, scenarios where your tank, like maybe your tank actually dies and they're like, oh, push, and then bam, they're dead, right?
Yep.
So same thing though in terms of clearing the high ground. This is the dive. It made sense given the fact that where was BAP, right?
I did not know. I knew he wasn't up there anymore.
Right, and that's all that we needed to know. Careful.
Yeah, there's a bit of feeding.
Yeah, I really think you should have just gone back the direction that you came, right?
Yeah, I agree.
Go back the direction you came and deal with the BAP, deal with the Junkrat and so on. I think you're just thinking sneaky barrage.
Yeah.
Which obviously just a little bit.
Also, didn't know where their team was necessally.
Yeah,
so
they kind of juked you.
I thought they were on point.
Yeah.
Because they push off of the high ground, so my immediate thought was like, okay, they're walking back point, right? But I just wasn't.
Sorry, was here, Junk was here, BAP was here, whoops, and then Reed took high ground, and then they just kind of juked you.
Yeah, that's on my team.
Honestly, can just stay here. I would not be spamming Valk. You're going for your Yazin clip.
Of course. Not much communication happened this game, but it did happen. It's about to happen here.
Okay.
So we have Nano. I said, okay, we just Nano Pharah.
3, 2, 1, Nano Pharah.
Yeah, 3, 2, 1, Nano Pharah. Unfortunately, we did not hit the Nano on time, which is not. It's unlucky, but it doesn't matter. Because I still fired it up. But it would have been much better.
The irony here is that I actually think you go for the wrong target, even though it's Mercy. It's just shoot the BAP, shoot the Symmetra.
Yeah, okay.
It's just easier. It's just easier. Yeah, it's just so much easier. You know, like you can kill right through Mercy Pocket. The melee range Pharah. I do think you're a little close sometimes. The goal is to be above them, not on top of them, generally, for the most part. But we work it out. Yeah, nice, and we cap, right? Surely?
Nope.
No, you don't?
No, we lost that fight.
Oh, no.
And we're about to lose this one too. I killed 3 and then I killed 4 here.
That by the way, that's what we talked about the mid fight. Do you see this? This is where we talked about the mid fight barrage, right? Where like, I mean, obviously it was you got back a little late, but they're not thinking about barrage, so 4 of them died to barrage. But yeah, okay. What are the main takeaways? Obviously, not a ton of footage, nothing versus hit scan, but there's still some habits that we can see here that you can improve on. What are you seeing?
Like I said earlier, like the going in, right? I think there were a lot of times where I was just a little slow on the draw, where I should have been going in and I wasn't, or I shouldn't have been going in and I was, right?
Mm-hmm.
Which comes with a lot of time, which I'm aware of.
Mm-hmm.
Playing more isolated angles, right?
Mm-hmm.
So even though there's no hit scan, I should be pretending like there is, for the sense of just remembering and then completely forgetting that and going in and killing them all.
Right.
Because, you know, it's good to build the good habit, but then, you know, realize, okay, there's no hit scans, I can play however I want. And I have a mercy
you're
pocket.
still getting punished for it too. Like a lot of it was more to do with your proximity.
Distance.
Right.
Me and the enemy as well.
Well, that's the thing is, it's like versus this composition, it was actually the distance that was more important than the cover. The cover is still important, but it was the distance that mattered, and you weren't getting the distance. Versus the hit scan, proximity is good unless you're getting stuck by a casty grenade, but like you want to get on top of them, but the cover matters more. And to be honest, neither of those things were really too good today. So both of those things can be better. And then I guess for the barrage, maybe not something that you did well at the end, but just a good reminder. What's the most important thing for barrage?
Wait as long as you can.
Later is better. I wouldn't even say wait as long as you can necessarily, but late is better. Let's just say late.
The later the better.
Late is better. Okay, late is better, right? Just getting more of those cooldowns out, a little bit of the distraction, people get a little bit sloppy, and then people just melt. Higher risk play, so you want it to kind of like, you want to soften them up or allow your team to soften them up first. Same thing honestly happens with Genji play, but with Barrage, it's honestly even worse. Okay. Honestly, actually, you know, a lot of DPS ults are like that. If you think about it, like Death Blossom is another one, right? That could be like a 5k, or it can literally you can just get one shot. You get countered by literally every cooldown of the game. So, yeah. All right. Any questions?
No.
Okay. Next replay code, next hero, or do you want to look at some more Pharah? I mean, we can look at whatever you like.
Oh sure. I have a Genji VOD.
Okay, sure. Shoot over.
Nice little Genji one. Sure. Okay. Here you are.
Okay.
This is a pretty mediocre Genji VOD. There's also a pretty mediocre Pharah VOD. I have some pretty crazy Pharah games, some pretty crazy Genji games. So these are like, I'd say these are pretty good ones that I got.
Okay, sounds good.
Now, also context, right? I'm not an Overwatch 1 player, as we know.
This is the same Junkrat player actually on the enemy team. That's funny. Go ahead.
Wow, that is funny. I didn't know that. So I'm not an Overwatch 1 player. I've only played this map very, very minimally, because it was out in season 1 of Overwatch 2. This is the Vegas Eternals.
Oh, Vegas Eternal. Okay, I was gonna say this code. Okay, so you've not played this map before. Keep going.
I played this map before, just not a lot.
As much,
you know?
Right? Okay.
Yeah, not as much, because you know, it was only out in season 1 of Overwatch 2.
Right. Okay.
And then they removed that.
Makes
or
sense.
Season 2.
Disclaimers given out. Now we see how we do. So Genji, what is Genji good at?
Genji is good at there's like, I think there's 2 play styles with Genji. It's like assassination and blade bot. I think that's the 2, right? I will always try to go for killing backline first. That's what I'll always try to do, because I think it's harder than hitting a tank. So I'll always try. You know, whether or not I do it, completely up in the air. He's really good at playing different lanes, like Pharah, but a little bit differently than Pharah, obviously.
Right.
And he's good at isolating targets that are by themselves.
Sure.
And there's probably other things he's good at.
Sure. One thing I will talk about is a little bit about that blade bot thing. So I actually disagree with that. I know that's a very common thing that gets said, but to me, the way you should play Genji is such that you are building Blade and you are also threatening assassinations at the same time. A lot of people, when they think of Blade Bot, they think of like playing with their team and just kind of spamming tank, but that was never ever a good playstyle for Genji ever. Even in Overwatch 1, back when tanks fed more ult charge, what you do is you take a high ground off angle and then you either control space, control their DPS, look for duels, or you spam their tank. But you're doing it from somewhere that actually makes sense and allows you the opportunity to actually dive backline. So the problem with that mindset is that it will generally put you in positions where you have literally zero chance to look for backline ever. When really you should be taking a high ground off angle where you can spam tank if you want, or dive backline if you want, but you have the opportunity to do both. So with Genji, there's always going to be more of a high risk, high reward playstyle or a low risk, low reward playstyle. But honestly, both of those things end up doing the same things, the same goals. Just some of them take greater risks and some of them don't. That's it. So if you're going for like Blade Bot playstyle here, you'd be playing here, right? Spamming angles, looking for tanks, looking to control their backline. If you're going for assassination playstyle, you're still here, right? The only difference is that maybe you're more willing to pursue something like this or sneaking around backline, but you're still playing on an angle. It's just a slightly different aggression on that angle. That's all. You would never want to be here, ever. If you're here, this is not good.
Got it.
And I think that is something that I've seen in several videos and makes me cringe every time I hear it. It's just straight up fake news. See, like the value that you're getting now is that you're not even going for the assassination, but you're just distracting, threatening, and going and so on. Now, what should you do right now?
I should probably be with my monkey. I'm not gonna lie.
You could. You don't have to be, but you should be doing pressure.
Yeah, pressure. I should be pressuring. We're down 1. I should be pressuring somebody. Right now, I'm not really pressuring anybody.
Whatever.
Yeah.
Whatever. Now you're like, oh, I should have been with my monkey. Well, in the meantime, what were you doing in the meantime, though, instead of going on the Kiriko? What were you doing?
I was pressuring the Ana and the Genji.
Right, which was helping your monkey, right? Maybe that allows him to actually kill the Kiriko because the Ana's distracted and the Ana doesn't even have nade anymore, right?
True.
It's reasonable. It's a decent trade. Nice. Ooh. Oh, come on. I believe. Yes! The GOAT. Well done.
Thank you.
But the funny thing is you have about the same amount of ult charge that you would have had if you just focused D.Va, and you've actually contributed more to winning the fight. You need to be very careful. So, is there an advantage? Okay, so you think somebody's low. You get the triple headshot. You don't get it. It gets Suzu. What's the game plan out right now? Because again, like you've not failed on the assassination, but the assassination has been countered. What's the play?
Deflect and try to get to high ground or somewhere safe.
Right. You've done your job. Reset. Continue the pressure. This is an ego deflect, right? You're not even thinking about moving away. You're deflecting and standing in the open. Better team here, you're cooked. In fact, you might even still be cooked. Be very careful about that. Because the thing is like, well, I'm not getting punished for that in my rank, but you will be. And you do get punished for that in your rank. Just only 50% of the time. Only 50% of the time. And you want to climb to a rank where so you need something that works more than 50% of the time, right? So
yeah.
Nice. Well, yeah, no comment.
We were just staggering her, obviously.
Yeah, exactly. That's good. So far, the way that you're approaching the hero by looking for opportunities to go aggressive, controlling angles, the targets that you're shooting has been reasonable. The details are horrific, but you're playing the hero, at least approaching the hero in the correct way, so that's very good to see. And then again here, do you see how this position, if you see an opportunity to go aggressive or control space here or look for a dive, you can, but you can also just spam. Right now, there's no reason to do anything. Now, why would you not play with your monkey here? Let's just talk about that. Why would you not want to play here?
Why would I not want to? Like, why didn't... So the reason I thought we shouldn't, or the reason I wasn't, is because of where cart is.
Okay. How about not where cart is? How about where your supports are?
That is also a good reason. That's not what I was thinking about.
Okay.
Well, I probably wasn't thinking at all, but, you know, just, you know, being honest, but,
sure.
Like, looking at it, supports, definitely, they're there. Maybe that is a good position then, right? Because then if we're there, they can't get to our backline.
Sure. Sure.
So that's probably a good position.
To me, it's like you could do either one. You could play with your monkey, or you could play in this high ground here and spam and control the Reaper. Which one's better? I don't know. I don't know.
Very nuanced.
You know, maybe if there's no Reaper here, maybe if you see everybody over here and you want to go take an angle over here, I'm okay with that, right? But this is a fine position to be. This is a fine position to be. Because this is doing your team a favor, right? Because it's you're not diving backline, but you're preventing your team from being dove in backline in a 1v1 matchup that you should be fairly comfortable with, especially if you have healer support. The only problem here is I just don't think you expected him to hit so many shots. That's all.
Yeah, it was definitely unexpected.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Big blade. Questionable. You see, here's the thing with Nano Blade. It's going to allow you to cheat the system a large percentage of the time. But
Yep.
What's the problem potentially here?
I have done the. I've broken the rule.
Mm-hmm. What's the rule?
I've opened up with Blade.
Yeah. Well, not just that, but where's your team right now? Where's your monkey?
He's not with me, and he's
Cassidy.
low. He is. I don't even know where that guy is.
And
I didn't
Anna
even
and
know
Ring?
he was here.
Are they? Can they help you whatsoever?
Not really.
No. So is this blade going to work? Maybe, because it's Nano Blade.
No, it does not work.
It doesn't?
I did not get nanoed.
Oh, you didn't get nanoed. Okay. Okay.
No.
See, that was the problem, surely. But you got to see the problem.
No. The issue was where I was at.
Just don't force it.
Yeah.
Play around your team, even in something as powerful as a Nano Blade.
This is just feeding. It's unlucky.
It's okay. I'm a bit of a feeder in Genji myself. Genji's the first hero that I played, and he's probably like one of my worst DPS heroes. It's pathetic.
He's also the first DPS hero I ever started playing as well.
It's always what happens, you know, you pick up a hero and you learn all these bad habits, you get all these mistakes, and so then you move on, and like, my Mei is like master's level, but I have like 15 hours on her, and I have like way too many hours on Genji. It's embarrassing. Nice. He's so satisfying, you know? Oh, nice. Okay. Oh no! You even hear the deflect, but it's too late because she'd already hit the shot, so it like DOT'd you, you know? Tick, tick, tick.
Yep.
That's tragic.
It was unlucky.
A lot of these deaths are, okay, I will say that this is like the third death where you've kind of gotten caught with your pants down. You know, you extend just a little to get too greedy, just a little bit sloppy, and then you die with it. This happens to me all the time with Mei Ice Block because I'm trying not to use my Ice Block, but then I die for it. I'm like, you just have to be a little bit better. Uh-oh, Reaper messed up. Now, this is the funny thing. Okay, so this is a perfect example of what I was talking about, like the high risk, high reward, farming blade, whatever playstyle. What would be the quote-unquote farming blade? You know, actually, screw that. I'm tired of using the terminology. What would be the low risk, low reward playstyle from this position? Because this is a good position. So what's the low risk, low reward playstyle?
Dropping down and fighting with my team, like on the low ground.
Not even dropping down. Just sitting here. Just sitting here and throwing shurikens.
Sitting here and throwing shurikens.
Just throwing shurikens
at
Reaper, throwing shurikens at Winston, throwing shurikens at Ana. They're just distracting, causing chaos, splitting their attention, controlling the off angle, whatever. Okay. The high risk, high reward playstyle is what?
What I'm doing right now.
What you're doing right now, right? So you see how both of these things come from the same position, though, right? They both come from a high ground off angle, and then just choosing what you do with that position is what differentiates your playstyle from like the more passive low risk, low reward playstyle. Now, is what you're doing right now bad?
No, I don't think it's bad.
No, you have an advantage. If you're not confident in winning a 1v1 duel with an advantage, especially when you're in your supports LOS, then that's a skill issue, right? So I actually think what you're doing now is the high risk, high reward play is probably the better play because I'm actually not even sure that this is high risk. This is more medium risk, right? So I'm fine. And there you go. And so now what should you do? Now what's the high risk, high reward play?
Going on this Kiriko guy.
Sure, or the Reaper is the same thing, right? It's going for a more aggressive kill threat, but you could have just sat here and been like, oh, I don't have any cooldowns. I'm going to just throw shurikens. I've kind of already done my job, right? You see that, right?
Yep.
Okay. So that's a good way of looking at it. Try and set yourself up in a position where you can play safe, or you can dive, or control, or duel. Let's just put it that way. And then decide, you know, grading your decision making about what was the better play. Like this is just kind of silly, right? Be careful. Now, what do you want to do from here? Do I want to spam tanks? Do I want to shoot DPS? I don't like this. I don't like this. I don't like this. I don't like this. Because I want you here, right? I want you here.
Yeah.
Spam tanks. Spam the Genji. High risk, high reward. Dive the Genji. Try and kill this guy in the wall. Climb up out over here. Lowest lower play. Just keep throwing shurikens. Save your cooldowns. He's trolling. High risk, high reward. Right? High risk, high reward. Was it a bad play? No. But
It wasn't? Okay.
no, it wasn't. You had an advantage, right? You also had cover here as well, and you had both your cooldowns. Miss your right click. Miss your right click.
Yeah.
Right click,
Mechanical issue.
deflect, cancel, but now you're not in cover anymore. So there's no way for you to disengage. But your time wasn't wasted because you did distract both supports at the same time. So theoretically, there was enough in an advantage here, and the Kiriko dies as a result. I think the Kiriko actually died with the Suzu, too. Yeah. So, you know, you just weren't good enough to make that work. You didn't play it well enough. You didn't hit enough shots. You didn't use cover very well. Okay? But the play itself was not bad, right? Yeah. Don't chase. High risk, high reward play. What is it? What is
It's
it?
gonna be dashing and blading, I think.
It's going to be dashing and blading. You see your Sigma N. You think I can do this. I can do this. What's the lowest lower play?
Just shooting at them from over here.
Just
where I'm
shoot at
standing.
it. Look for an opportunity, but don't create that opportunity. A lot of the difference between lower risk and lower reward and high risk high reward is lower risk lower reward has somebody else create the opportunity that you finished. High risk high reward is the one creating and finishing the opportunity yourself. Okay. So really, either one makes sense. Like that right there, the blade would have made sense given the fact that your Sigma was there, right? Again, here, do I want to blade this? Do I not? Okay. Honestly, I get it. You got nanoed, you know.
Yep.
It's tough. It's tough. But you look at this play and you're like, well, I should have gone in because we lost. Well, yes and no. Like look at this fight just from in a nutshell. Your On is dead.
Yep.
They primal rage. They Kiriko ult. And you use both of the ultimates, that the nano or the rally and the high noon and the nano way too late. You guys, there's not, outside of trying to go for the highest high reward play here, it's not a surprise you lost this fight. So you can't even really look at this fight and be like, oh, I should have bladed that one early. Maybe, but your team as a whole messed that one up, right? So, understandable. All right, let's keep going. Do we have any questions so far?
No, stuff makes sense, right? It's like, especially with like the fact that Genji is a character I'm playing a lot less. As I'm climbing in the ladder.
Yep.
I only played him on this map because I remember when I played it in season 2, I played Genji a lot on this map, so I was like, oh, have some fun on Genji. But this is also like a Diamond 2, like the average rank was like Masters 5. I'm Diamond 2, or something. So it's not easy to play Genji unless you're, a good Genji. Higher rank. But that doesn't mean I'm not going to play him and try to make the high risk, high reward play sometimes and mess up.
You're playing okay. I think for me, the big thing so far has been like going in with like an escape route in mind. Like, or playing or on cover in mind.
Not thinking ahead.
Right. High risk, high reward, low risk, low reward. You know it, right?
And it's gonna happen as well. I do know it, and it will happen.
Right. Either just spam the Winston here.
Standing here, spam the Winston, but high risk high reward is going on the back line.
Right, and just playing to distract, survive. I don't think the high risk high reward play makes sense here.
Really? Oh,
No.
well, it's gonna happen.
Well, I know it's gonna happen, but why do I not like that play here?
Actually don't know. The reason I wanted to do it is because I thought if I distracted their supports, the Winston would die faster than if I
Sure,
was shot
but
him.
what's the problem about distract? Where like when you go in for a high risk, high reward play, even with a high risk, high reward play, usually you want either an escape route or a way to buy time.
Oh, there's no way out.
There's no way out.
I'm in.
I don't even think you can reasonably wall climb out of this here. I mean, maybe you could like dash here and wall climb here, but you probably just get shot and die. So this feels like it's very, very high risk, high reward. And you've also not seen the Kiriko use Suzu, the Reaper use Wraith. So honestly, the reward of like maybe I could actually get a kill here, no way. No chance of getting a kill here. So you're gonna go in. I mean, this seems reasonable. Like, the guy was slept, and also look at where you're engaging here. What's nice about where you are right now?
I've got cover to the right.
Right. So this is more of like a medium risk, medium reward thing. Like, you can even, but this is the mistake. You see it?
This is a mistake?
Yes.
Because I'm standing in the open.
Right, the deflect is fine, but the deflect is a tool that allows you to play this aggressive position and then use it to migrate towards a safer location.
Okay.
Right? So what should you be doing right about now?
So as I'm deflecting, I'm moving towards the right.
Deflecting, moving to the right, and going back to that low risk, low reward playstyle and shooting the Reaper. Problem here is that's like as you get better, as you play versus better teammates, enemies, that's going to get punished more and more. Okay. Genji, skills to improve. What do you think?
Being what? Being more patient. Also, I don't know if that's something to improve. I think that's always something to improve on.
Sure.
Using deflect correctly.
Using deflect
as a
go ahead.
Or reposition.
Reposition tool on failed engages. And not even on failed engages, right? Like, think about like that deflect right there. Was that a failed engage? No, you killed the Reaper, right? It was good.
Yep.
Just use the deflect as a reposition on failed or succeeded engages, right? It's what allows you to go to not trade one for one. Oh, I killed Reaper, now I'm also going to die. Also think about, remember the dash through the enemy team when Ana was low on first point? And then you deflected and it just sat on the floor. It was the same thing. That was a successful dive. You got the Ana really low. I think you forced Nade and Suzu.
Yep.
But you can't die for that, right? Like, you need to be able to greed that. So
thankfully that's not worth.
Right. And even if it was worth, why be satisfied with an okay trade? Let's get a great trade where you get the cooldowns and you survive. That's phenomenal. That's the best case scenario. Okay. What else?
Noticing correct engages.
Sure. Taking angles and deciding on correct engages.
That's a much better way of wording it.
Route / dueling / risk versus reward and so on. Like, you have like the problem with Genji is the best way to play Genji a lot of the time is thoughtful. Excuse me, no, it's the opposite. The best way to play Genji is instinctual, but the best way to get better at Genji is to be thoughtful, because you could see like how complex all of these engages were, but in the moment you're not going to want to be that methodical about it to execute it properly. So what we're going to do is we're going to slow you down just a little bit with your Genji, which might clunk you up just a little bit, just so that we can start, once we get you to kind of like get your wheels in the track, then we can start to accelerate again. Just to improve that a little bit, because I think right now your instincts are not bad, but they're not developed well enough. So you need to be a little bit more thoughtful. And it's hard to be thoughtful with the fast hero, but you need to try, so that then your instincts are a little bit more accurate, so that we can let you run free again.
So when you say thoughtful, do you mean like thinking, obviously thinking, right? But
yes.
But what I mean by that is like so I'll say things out loud about what I'm going to do. So like if I play Sojourn, I'm like, okay, I'm gonna E here to try and push them back or push them into this choke. Should I be doing that with Genji? Like, okay, I'm gonna try and do this. If I do this, I'm gonna do that.
If you like the narrated gameplay, I mean, I never was a big narrated gameplay guy, but the idea of the narrated gameplay is what we're looking for. Something that's like a more like strategic. I mean, think about like ice skating, right? Like the stuff that you're doing with ice skating is it's too fast to think about. You just have to do it, right?
Well, that's why we make choreography sequences.
Right, but to get to that point, you probably had to do it slowly, right?
Yeah, you did.
Right,
very slowly.
And then you get to the point to where you don't have to think about it anymore, so you start to pick up speed, and then all of a sudden when you're performing or you're competing, you're not thinking at all. You're just
Yep.
flowing. You're going through
Going
the
through the
motions.
motions.
Right,
Yep.
right. But yeah, I think like that's
Yeah,
the
I
same
see,
thing
I
with
see.
Genji, and it's honestly the same thing with a lot of heroes, just a little bit more so with the mechanically intense heroes like Genji and Tracer and so on.
Okay.
Just something to kind of keep in mind. Do you have any questions?
No.
Okay, okay.
Maybe? Nah, I don't think so.
If you do have any questions, you just shoot me a message anytime, mate. All right.
All right.
But yeah, keep in touch. Good luck with your practice.